And welcome into the Wheelhouse here, Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle on this special Memorial Day edition of the podcast as we get into a lot this afternoon, this evening, whatever it is, Mark. I don't even know anymore. I haven't shaved in 4 days. I haven't slept in about 3 days, so we are on that kind of level. But Mark, how the heck are you?
I'm definitely not having as rough a go as you are on sleep, that's for sure. But definitely, I can understand it. I can feel the grind for sure.
Yeah. So if I'm looking at myself in the video, and yeah, I definitely need to break the razor out. But Mark, how was your weekend been? Do anything fun this Memorial Day weekend? You're in the middle of packing up and moving, I know.
Yeah, just a lot of packing up, getting ready to go to the new house, spending some family time. Got to grill last night. Gonna do a little bit of cooking tonight, so can't complain. What about yourself?
Absolutely zero of anything. I don't know what happened to my family. We used to do like barbecues and stuff like that all the time, but I don't know. Everyone's just slacking lately.
Hey, you get busy and time gets ahead of you lose track of time. It is what it is.
Yeah, so we have a lot to get into today. We got the NHL, NBA playoffs going on, and we have the WNBA in full swing, as you can see behind me, fully representing the W these days. I can't even fathom the NFL season. I can't fathom that. I can't fathom really anything now that at least basketball, hockey are here in Denver is over. But it's supposed to be baseball season, but Denver doesn't have a baseball team, so can't get into that either, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's a tough go. Colorado sports, man, that's rough, and baseball's definitely not helping that case, and it's not even like they're trying. It looks like.
Yeah, I don't even know what it would look like if they did try. Like maybe this is them trying. I really don't know what trying looks like for the Colorado Rockies at this point. We had them on our ice list last week, and it's just they would be on our ice list every week if we were to go that route, because the 8-44 now, I think. They just lost to the Yankees today. Or no, did they play the Yankees today? I don't even know who they played. I know they played the Yankees over the weekend. I know they won one of the games, which is very odd.
Yeah, they lost to the Cubs today, 3-1.
Yeah, see, couldn't even tell you who they're playing. Couldn't even tell you who's on the team anymore. All I know is, Mark, I am not going to any games, so you can bank on that. Speaking of no. I don't know if you've ever had troubles. What would you do? What do you do when you can't sleep? Do you just watch something until you fall asleep? Do you do the dreaded scrolling on your phone? What do you do?
I try and stay away from the phone because that'll keep the old wheels turning, and then you find yourself going down rabbit holes. So usually I'll try and throw something on with the fan in the background. If that doesn't work, I'll try complete silence and darkness except for the fan. And if all else fails, I'll take a shower. Even if it's the third shower of the night, try and take a shower to get relaxed, and then go back to bed.
Yeah, I have a fan on 24/7. Like that thing doesn't shut off.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, I've been like on a horror movie kick. So I literally watched 3 horror movies until like finally like 4:30 last night. Oof. And you may be saying to yourself, well, that's your problem. You're watching horror movies at night. No, that's what I normally do, and I usually watching something like puts you to sleep, and then I wake up and my phone's still on. But no, it did not work the last couple of nights. So we'll see once the work week starts tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But always fun to not get any sleep. But yeah, a lot to get into. We're going to kick things off with fire and ice. If you're new to the program, kind of our top 3, who's hot, who's not, list of stuff around the sports world right now.
It's now time for Fire.
Give me fuel, give me
to ice.
Ice Cube, baby.
You're as cold as ice. Ice, ice, baby.
All right, Mark, on these Memorial Day musings, where would you like to start this evening?
You know, I think we ought to start with some fire. It's a holiday. Let's get fired up. Let's get into it.
Yeah, you mentioned grilling and stuff. Get the stuff cooking on the old fire there. All right. Well, we only really have two fires, but one of them is we mentioned it. The WNBA season in full effect now, about a week into the season. I don't know about you, Mark. Obviously, I can't get enough of it. It's all I've been watching. Have the league pass and all of that, and it's kind of weird because when you have the league pass, whoever's the home team, that's whose feed you're watching. So it was weird. They had the Indiana Fever game this last Thursday on Prime, but they were. I think it was the Atlanta Dreams home broadcast because they were really. I don't think Amazon Prime has a full-time WNBA broadcasting team, so I think they just threw the Atlanta Dreams feed on there. And because I was like, why are they favoring the Dream so much? And then when they went to commercial, it was all Atlanta Dream like logos and stuff like that. So that was kind of weird. But maybe Amazon Prime should look into it if they're going to put games on there. But yeah, it is cool. Although some of the broadcasting, you're just like, it could be a little bit better. But they're still getting into it. The country's kind of still getting into it. The Golden State Valkyries, obviously, this is their first season. What have you seen so far? Right now, the Minnesota Lynx, who were the runner-up last year, starting the season 4-0. The New York Liberty look like they're making another run for the title. The Indiana Fever, kind of mentioned them. A lot of new pieces still trying to gel. They're sitting at 2-2 right now. And what have you seen so far throughout this season? Anything get you excited? Anything get you hyped? Anything get you kind of disappointed, if you want to throw that in there?
Honestly, I can't get enough of CC and all the energy she brings and all the commotion that comes with it. The clashing between her and Angel Reese. I know it's starting to get a little bit out of hand. I'm that stuff gets me excited. Obviously, being in Arizona, watching the Phoenix Mercury starting off 3-1, and that team in general just looking good. They're looking strong. So I've been excited about those two the most.
Yeah, and basically the Phoenix Mercury almost overhauling their whole entire roster. I mean, Obviously Brittany Griner's now in Atlanta, yelling at referees to be effing better. They. Sophie Cunningham, obviously, on Indiana now. Diana Taurasi retired. I mean, it was almost a complete 180, or 360 if you want to go that far. But they bring in Alyssa Thomas, who's a 11-year vet in this league, and they're kind of Satu Sabali, another solid piece at the post position. So
a lot of leading the team of points. Sabali doing her thing, and Thomas and rebounds. I mean, like I said, played solid ball.
Yeah, and they just squeaked by yesterday. I was in the game. I was watching over the Washington Mystics. Sonia Cintron there behind me. I have it leading the rookie class, by the way, in points per game at around 19 per. The Washington Mystics have been a fun team to watch. The LA Sparks with Kelsey Plum, another rookie on the wall. My girl, Sarah Ashley Barker. But Kelsey Plum just fitting in seamlessly with the LA Sparks. I mean, she dropped 37 in her first game yesterday. She's saying too small to Angel Reese. So that as they get by Chicago. Chicago's struggling right now. The Chicago Sky, obviously Angel Reese getting a lot of heat for kind of I mean, at this point, do you feel I almost feel bad for her because all the dudes that are saying, oh, she can't make a layup, she would absolutely destroy any guy who's saying that to her in the basketball on the basketball court. All these keyboard warriors, she would absolutely destroy in a game on one-on-one. I don't know if you saw Clay Travis, the dude. He runs like the out kick socials and Outkick podcasts and stuff like that. He challenged Angel Reese to a one-on-one game and would put up for charity. He said it would make like $1 million that would all go to charity. Winner takes $100,000. So whoever wins the one-on-one would win $100,000. And he's been waiting for her to respond back, and instead he said she blocked him. So we will not see an Angel Reese and Clay Travis one-on-one bout. But Clay, if you're listening, just you can go to McDonald's and get the Angel Reese special, because honestly, she probably would have cooked you either way. So but Chicago's struggling a little bit now.
I think a lot of it has to do, and I watched just I think just 2 or 3 of their games. What have they played? 5 so far, I think. No, they've only played 3, so I only watched 2. I didn't watch the last one. And I think a lot of it has to do with the kind of a leadership struggle and kind of just a direction the team needs to go. Angel Reese causing a lot of distraction off the court. Kind of an open mouth insert foot here situation. I think a lot of it has to do with they need to go back to playing ball. Just go back to playing ball. Angel Reese, obviously, I mean, it's a joke, but her rebound game is one of the best. She needs to go back to playing that small ball instead of trying to worry about beating up the world.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw when Caitlin Clark-Fowler wanted to go and muck it up a little bit there. But yeah, I mean, you saw other veterans, foul her and stuff like that and didn't get mad. So a lot of people are looking at that like the jealousy is real.
Yes.
And we will see what transpires here throughout the season. I'm glad they expanded the season, by the way, because they still got like 40 games left, which is outstanding. They're playing 44 games now instead of 40. I know they didn't really expand it too much, but still a lot of season left. And we also kind of like what the NBA does. I hate the stupid in-season tournament mark for the NBA. The WNBA kind of does that. It's called the Commissioner's Cup. So they do a little tournament where, teams are vying for the Commissioner's Cup. I really don't know what that entails, but they do have a little break in the season where they do that. So we'll see. We'll see what transpires the rest of the season. We will get into Caitlin Clark here in just a minute because we got more news on her. But yeah, it's been fun so far this season. All right, obviously the NHL and NBA playoffs also are in the conference finals. In the NHL, you have the reigning Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers putting on a clinic right now against the Carolina Hurricanes. They lead that series 3-0. And in the Western Conference Finals, Edmonton last night took a 2-1 series lead over the Dallas Stars. And I know a lot of hockey fans still they're clinging on to the last Canadian team, Mark. We saw Toronto do what they do and choke in the second round. And now we have the Edmonton Oilers still hanging on. They do have a chance. They do match up well with the Dallas Stars and Dallas, kind of, I wouldn't say coasting their way through the playoffs, but have really played well through the first couple of rounds until they run into a buzzsaw with Edmonton. And we mentioned Florida. They're the reigning Stanley Cup champion for a reason. And we're seeing why against the Carolina team who had a very good regular season and just can't seem to click here against Florida.
Right, and it's crazy because the Hurricanes have done this to themselves. Like I said, we were texting earlier, and I saw the stat that the Hurricanes haven't won a conference final since before the iPhone was invented. So maybe the iPhone is the reason they are not winning.
Yeah, we were going to say it in the ice list, but we might as well say it now. They haven't won a conference final game since my senior year of high school, 2006. So that should tell you all. Yeah, iPhones were not around. I still had a black and white Cricket phone back then.
There you go.
And yeah, there was no iPhones out yet. So
yeah, and at least these last couple of playoffs appearances that the Hurricanes have, it almost appears like they blow their wad in the series beforehand, and then by the time they get to the conference, they're all just torn. They're injuries or nagging injuries that they're playing with. They're tired, and then it feels like whoever they're playing against just like Florida just getting hot. I mean, at the end of the Leafs series, absolutely got caught fire, coming in and carrying that momentum over. I think all of that added together, it's tough. It's almost, it reminds me of like a Mike Tomlin and the Steelers getting into the postseason, almost every year, but then losing right away.
Yeah. Yeah. And consequently, in 2006, they won the Stanley Cup. So that was the last time they actually won a conference final game. And also, ironically, Rob Brendamore, who is the head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, was the captain of the Hurricanes when they won the Stanley Cup back in 2006. So that's how long it's been since they won a conference final game, which is really, really crazy to think about. So, and then on the Western side, well, I guess is your pick Florida going from the East? I mean, they only need to lock up one more game. Is that a done deal?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Florida's got this in the bag. I mean, even if it goes to a gentleman's sweep, it's Florida. I don't see it going past 4, but even if it does, I'm sticking with Florida. On the Western, well, what do you think? What do you think? You got Florida too, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much a done deal. They obviously have the experience, obviously winning it last year, so they're only a year removed from going through all this, and they have what it takes. They know what it takes. So yeah, that basically sewn up the West. Before this series started, Mark, I thought it was going to go 7 games, and it still could. Obviously, Dallas gets the first 2 at home, and then Edmonton goes and wins at home. So if you're Dallas, you say, "Oh well, all we have to do is win our home games." You don't want it to go that long to where you're like, "We need to win all our home games, and then we win this series." I'm sure both of these teams would like a break that Florida's probably going to get here soon, and maybe a week off or however long it is. So I want to say Dallas, but I don't know. I feel like the Canadian momentum is the hockey gods are like, some Canadian team is going to make it, damn it, and it's going to be stupid McJesus and the stupid Oilers.
No, I agree with you. Before this series, I was hands down, this is Dallas. This is Dallas series to lose. I felt not that Edmonton has looked bad or even struggling. I just felt that Dallas had looked the better team. Obviously, Miko ran in. Miko doing his thing, just catching fire. The Otter in the net doing his thing for Dallas. And then you got, Draisaitl, who I just feel like hasn't really quite hit a stride. McDavid's kind of hit and miss in Edmonton. But now, I mean, Edmonton's up 2-1. I'm still riding with Dallas. I'm still saying Dallas is going to win it. But I think you're right. I think it is going to. Well, I think it's going to go 7, and I think you're right. They don't want it to go 7. They need to hold on to every home game. They play phenomenally at home, in their own barn. But yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a way taller order than what it first appeared.
All right, you got Dallas. I'm gonna, for as much as I very dislike, I don't really like either team, but I really don't like Edmonton because I don't know. But I'm just gonna go with the Oilers, I guess, in 7.
I like it. I mean, like I feel like you can't go wrong either pick, but I think 7 is a safe choice.
Well, if you don't like either team, you can go wrong because you're forced to pick one of the teams that you dislike. So. All right, so you got a Dallas and Florida Stanley Cup, and I got an Edmonton. And for the sake of travel, I hope it's not Edmonton and Florida, because that is literally cross country, cross continent travel for both of those teams. And so you'd hope they get some kind of a break here soon, like we mentioned. So we will see what happens. Florida 1 win away from returning to the Stanley Cup. All right, on the hardwood, Mark, obviously in the conference finals as well. In the Eastern Conference, you have Indiana and New York. And in the West, you have Minnesota and OKC. Two well, there's 3 cities in this conference final, Mark, that you would think that, flyover towns, not big markets, Minnesota, Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma City, they're like the only pro team within what, a 3-4 state radius in Oklahoma City. And, obviously New York is the quote unquote Mecca. Minnesota's way up north, cold. So these series have been crazy. Obviously, Oklahoma City comes back in game 2 and absolutely destroys Minnesota. They destroyed Minnesota in game 1. Game 3 rolls around up in Minnie, and Minnesota destroys Oklahoma City. And then in the Eastern Conference, Indiana gets 2 on the road against New York. And then yesterday, New York's down 20 in the third, and they come back and win on the road. So both of these series have been crazy. In the East, the road teams are 3-0. And in the West, the home teams are 3-0. So both of these series have been complete opposites so far. Starting in the East, the Indiana Pacers, that their name kind of is what they're all about. I mean, they set their own pace. They don't care what the Knicks do. They're just a hodgepodge of dudes who match up well with New York. You wouldn't think that, Karl Anthony Towns would have a hard time, except for yesterday he put on a clinic in the third quarter. But I mean, what do you make of this series? Even in Carmelo Anthony's podcast, he said you never know what Indiana is going to bring. You don't know who to stop. It could be Halliburton one game, could be Miles Turner one game, could be freaking the one dude who hit like 6 threes. Pascal Siakam. Or Neesmith, or just a bunch of random dudes. You just don't know who to shut down until you're in it, pretty much. But what do you make of the Eastern Conference?
No, I completely agree with Melo. And what was crazy for me is before this series started, as hot as the Knicks got, especially against a Boston team, I thought it was definitely the Knicks series to lose. Just kind of the same thing like we were talking about in hockey with the Panthers. I mean, they just got hot perfectly at the right time. Obviously Brunson doing his thing and Karl Anthony Towns doing his thing. And then, Hart nailing threes on the side. And these guys are nailing threes with defenders breathing down their necks. Go to game 1 and, they lose that lead. The Pacers got, the buzzer beater and, showing the Knicks the choke sign and, game 2, just continually to take it to them late in the, third and fourth quarters of both those games. I completely agree with Mel. You never know what the Pacers are going to do. I mean, hell, even last night, catching, I was only able to catch the end. But, it was still, you never know when the Pacers are going to go off. And I don't know if the Knicks can keep up with that kind of the sporadic, I guess, barrage of points that they'll get, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, I think this is great for basketball, and I'm having way more fun than I thought I was going to with this series.
Yeah, and at first I was like, whoever comes out of the West is just going to run through the NBA Finals, but that might not be the case. Watching the 2 Eastern Conference battle it out, so we will see. Over in the West, obviously, it's been one way in all 3 games. Oklahoma City really ran the table in the first 2 games, and the Minnesota kind of did what Denver did, had a lead, and then started turning the ball over and just could not recover. You cannot turn the ball over against Oklahoma City. They're long, they're lengthy, they just get their hands in passing lanes and stuff like that. So you cannot turn the ball over. And then in game 3, we saw a way cleaner game from Minnesota. They were the aggressor. They were the enforcers. They were turning Oklahoma City over, and you just saw a completely different. And I don't know if it's the home court advantage. Obviously, you have your fans, and I don't remember who said it during the Denver series, but it might have been Richard Jefferson, whoever is on the broadcast, saying role players play better at home. Guys coming off the bench play better at home, and you saw that for Minnesota, and you saw the guys coming off the bench for Oklahoma City really struggle. So, Minnesota threw a rookie out there. I forgot his name. I mean, he scored like 6 points in 8 minutes. I mean, they just had contributors from all over the place. I really wanted Minnesota to win this series, Mark, because I'm never the person who cheers for the team that beats your team. Never. If anything,
Right.
If anything, I hate that team more now. But I don't really like Minnesota, but I don't know. This series is hard to call because if the home team just keeps winning, then Oklahoma City takes it, and I really don't want them to. Minnesota has to steal one on the road, and I still think this series is probably going to go 6 or 7. I just don't know. I don't know who to call yet. It's been only three games, and the home teams, they call it. They say it's a series once the road team wins, and a road team has not won yet.
Right. No, I agree, and it's funny because I think everybody's feeling the same way we are. I mean, you can't make heads or tails of this. When Minnesota, did take that game, game 3, and they frustrated Shy. It was kind of like OKC fell apart as a whole. They, like you said, they were smothered defense, stealing the ball, maintaining possession, which is a huge part. I mean, you can steal the ball all night, but if you're not maintaining possession, it don't mean nothing. And then it just seemed like everything was falling. Whatever groove, it feels like both of these teams are kind of what the Pacers have in that formula. So whatever groove that they found in game 3 is what they need to stick with. Whatever groove OKC found in games 1 and 2 is what they need to stick with. I mean, we could talk about other aspects of the game of how they were influenced or how it kind of fell, one way or another. And I know we're going to get into that later, but ultimately, if I'm the T-Wolves, I'm trying to frustrate Shy and get everybody behind him frustrated, and I think that's how you win the series.
Yeah, they really did a good job of shutting him down. I think he only ended up with 14 points in game 3. I think he shot like 4 of 16. It was, I mean, you got to shut him down. And and Chris Finch, the head coach of the T-Wolves, said, we played clean without fouling. And I was joking around on social media. I'm like, this is what OKC looks like when they don't get the benefit of the whistle. Yeah. Is that true? I don't know, but they were obviously not doing well. I mean, the memes out there are just hilarious. I sent you that AI generated video. A little dirty, but it was funny. The bunch of memes have Shea, running around in bubble wrap. I mean, the whistles he gets is still unbelievable to me, but it was a clean game. And
I agree. I mean, you could tell there was times where in that Denver series where I feel like there was a lot of quick whistles that did end up benefiting OKC, and you really saw the difference in that game 3 with the T-Wolves.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it is a benefit of the whistle. I don't know. We'll get into referees here shortly. And it like you mentioned, the refereeing is crazy. The calls that I hate are when the offensive player generates the contact. Like they run into the defensive guy goes falling back, and it's a foul on the defensive guy when the offensive guy generated the contact. That's stupid. The other stupid call is they wait for the ball to see if it goes in or not to call a foul. Have you seen those? I mean,
yeah. Oh, those drive me nuts.
It's so egregiously late, the whistle is, that you're just like, what? Like it's literally like 4 or 5 seconds after the shot had already gone up, and then they blow the whistle to see if it. I mean, it's either a foul or it isn't. Are you waiting for it to go in? That's another stupid call to me.
I agree. And like the other one that drives me nuts, and I understand if there's contact, it has to be called. But what I've never understood is how certain players, I mean, and it happens in every sport. We've talked about this before on here, where, the bigger athletes are going to get different calls in different situations. But I really hate when the offensive player comes up and there is contact, don't get me wrong, but it didn't affect the shot. The shot was still made, and it's a quick whistle, and it's like sometimes I feel like you gotta let him play. You know what I mean? We gotta quit doing the letter of the rule book and kind of the color of the rule book and more. You know what I mean? Do what the foul means, not what it says verbatim.
Yeah, and they tell defensive guys to go straight up, vertical, both hands in the air. They do that, they still get run into, and it's a foul on them. Like that. Right. And then when they review it, they reverse the call anyway because they call it marginal contact. Well, right. I mean, I get it. You know, these guys are going 100 miles an hour. It's hard to see it at full speed, and that's why a lot of these calls are reversed. Is because they're slowing the game down, obviously, and the guy straight up. And honestly, I was like, any call against Shea should be reviewable. I know it would. I know the game would go probably 5 hours because he gets so many calls, but at this point, I was like, you got to review every call because some of this times he's not even touched. Like,
Right.
It's crazy, and like you said, it's almost like a presumptive whistle. Like they're expecting contact, and honestly, the defense is getting a lot smarter to not really go near him, and he just falls to the ground and gets the call.
Right. And it's almost, you almost, especially when you're playing against OKC, you almost got to tell your big fellas down in the paint that certain situations, shy away from it and
Yeah.
and let them get to the basket.
Yeah, at that point, I was I don't remember who said this either, Mark, and it was funny because they were like, we need to bring back enforcers in the NBA. Have a big dude just clog the middle of the paint, wait for somebody to drive, and just give him an elbow. Like
Yeah,
not
make
an
them think
egregious
twice.
not an egregious dirty elbow, but hey, you're gonna come in here, you got to pay the price.
I mean, yeah, yeah, bring back the bad boys days, man.
Yeah, like a Bill Lambier or a I don't know that he's the only guy that's really come to mind. Just standing in the paint and you're afraid to drive in there. And don't get me wrong, to not discredit OKC, I mean, this playoff run, they've been playing some of the best ball that we've ever seen, offensively and defensively. And obviously, it comes down to making shots. Minnesota I mean, they were horrid in the first two games from three. I think they were like 12 of 18 from three in game three. So when you're shooting like 80%, you're from three, you're going to win most games.
Yeah, that's the Celtics.
Well, yeah, they live and die by it, though.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree. And honestly, OKC arguably one of the most talented teams in the league. And even with the age as young as they are, being able to do what they've done is nothing short of phenomenal. So definitely don't want to take credit from them. But yeah, it is frustrating watching it from home and saying, hey, I could tell you about 17 teams that didn't get that call. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So that was that's been crazy. It's been crazy. Obviously, the awards have it's award season also in the NBA. First off, want to get your opinion. Obviously, Shea takes home the most valuable player award. I don't know why they waited so long. They did it on an OKC off day as well, and then he was presented the trophy obviously before game two, which is again weird. Just the timing of it was all weird. A lot of people saying they were waiting for the Denver series to be over, but isn't the award voted on? Like, and I don't know. It was just weird timing. But what's your overall thoughts on Shea winning the MVP?
Well, remember, like I said last week when we were talking about Game 7 in Denver, with Denver and OKC playing, I figured my opinion still stands. I think Joker deserved it. I think they say that it's a regular season award. I'm beginning to not beginning to. I'm at the point now where I don't think it is. It's BS. It's a it's a regular season and half playoff award because I don't know would he have gotten it if Denver's playing Minnesota right now. I really don't think so. I really think they would
Yeah,
have given it to Joker.
that's the crazy thing. Like, what would have happened if Denver won that series? I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, and like I said, I called it. I said to watch. They're going to announce it in the middle of the series between Minnesota and them if they win, and that's sure as heck what happened. And like they say, well, it's a regular season. Well, if it's regular season, then right at game 82, hey, this is our vote. You should really know by game really. For being honest, game 75, you should be like, okay, this is who we're going with, pending the last 7 games of the season.
Yeah, yeah, and they say the NBA or the Finals MVP is the accumulation of what what was done in the playoffs. So I don't know. And if you saw the voting, I mean, Shea won pretty much in a landslide, like 79-29 in first place votes. So I really don't know what's going. What again? What would they have put out those numbers if Denver won the series and somehow Joker won it? I don't know. Is it? It's a conspiracy theory for sure.
Absolutely. Like you said, the timing awfully funny.
Yeah, and I really thought when they didn't announce it during the day, I mean, if you're OKC, don't you want them to announce it in the Denver series, like just to stick it to the Nuggets?
Heck, oh yeah, absolutely. Plus, how fired up is that going to get you running into a game seven? Like they ended up doing.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. The timing of it was just weird. The whole thing is weird, and then to do it on an off day, which was
Yeah.
well, they still give him the trophy before a home game, but it was just yeah, the timing was off. It was weird. I don't understand it. And like you said, who, if Denver won that series, is Shai the MVP? Because I was like, well, they're going to announce it during the Eastern Conference final game, which they did because you obviously saw Shaq read the envelope. And
Right.
I was like, well, like, are they going to have to travel to New York to receive the trophy? I mean, it was just weird timing. But the all NBA teams were also announced, and I thought there was three all NBA teams. Is that, or is there, and I just missed it?
I think there is three, isn't there? Or
I don't know. I only saw two, but yeah, it's. I mean, what is the difference between an all NBA first team, an all NBA second team, and an all NBA third team? Does anybody really know?
if you're talking, the only thing that made sense to me is obviously you got
There,
your guys you're gonna put on the floor first, and then you got your finishers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I thought.
yeah. So there is an NBA. There is three teams for the NBA, all NBA. It was Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Halliburton, James Harden, Karl Anthony Towns, and Jalen Williams. Any disagreements there?
No, Harden. I feel like's a bubble player on that, just because there's days where there's streaks. He's a streaky guy, and coming into his later age, we can point out different parts of the season where maybe he's not the same guy, but Harden's just I don't know. Coming in the later, I feel like he's just not the same guy that we all watched. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All NBA second team: Jalen Brunson, Steph Curry, Ant, LeBron, and Evan Mobley was your All NBA second team.
I feel like that was more of a popularity contest one.
Well, let's go to the NBA first team because then we'll see Giannis, Shea, Joker, Donovan Mitchell, and Jason Tatum.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean that's not terrible.
That's solid.
Yeah. So I again, I don't know what meets the criteria. A lot of people, maybe Evan Mobley on the second team. Again, I didn't watch a lot of Cleveland games, but
Nah.
I guess whatever on that one. But yeah, so the all NBA teams were announced, and then the all NBA defensive teams were announced as well. And I guess there's only two of these teams, two of the all NBA defensive teams.
I did not know that.
Which again, I thought there was three for
Yeah.
both of them.
Right.
But I again, I don't know. But the all defensive second team was I'm going to butcher this dude's name. Tumani Kamara from Portland, Rudy Gobert from Minnesota, Jay to the third, Jaren Jackson Jr. from Memphis, Jalen Williams, and Zubats from the LA Clippers. All NBA defensive first team, Dyson Daniels, who led the league in steals, Lou Dort, cannot stand him, Draymond Green, Evan Mobley, and Amon Thompson, the rookie from Houston.
I like Mobley. I think Cleveland was kind of snuffed this year. They had a great year. Going on the first round doesn't help a lot. Like I said, with a lot of these awards, I don't feel they're just regular season. Mobley had a hell of a year. So I'm happy for him, and I think they probably should have gotten a little bit more love there.
Yeah. So again, I think it's somewhere too in their contracts. If you make an All NBA team, you can make more money somehow, or there's like constituents in your contract where if you make an All NBA team, you get a little bit of a bump in money. I know Shea winning MVP is eligible for like a supermax now, which is crazy. I thought he signed a supermax at some point, but I don't know. But yeah, so those were the recent awards handed out in the NBA. So all right, who do you got coming out of the East now?
Oh man, I tell you what, like I said, that was a crazy flip in momentum for me. Watching Indiana doing what they've done. You had asked me last week, I would have said Knicks all the way. I think I'm going to switch. I think I'm going to take the Pacers. This might be the time they get over the hump.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just for S and gigs, I'll go with New York just to be opposite. We'll see though. I don't know. In the West, I'm sticking with Minnesota. I'm sticking with them. I hope they pull this out. I was telling Matt, if Minnesota wins, I'll get an Anthony Edwards jersey. I couldn't stand Ant, but in the battle of quote unquote superstars in this series, I really want Anthony Edwards to win. Just because some of his antics, I guess, during the regular season. But if you watch him during the playoffs, he's really kind of level-headed. He doesn't, he had that breakaway dunk after a steal, and normally he would, pump his chest or do something, but he just ran back on defense, and that's what I like to see. So I'm sticking with Minnesota.
No, I like it, I like Anthony Edwards. He, especially in the postseason, like you said, he's really stepped into that leader role. But I think I'm going to stick with OKC. I think that what they're bringing is too much. I think not only what they're bringing is too much, but they're more consistently have brought it in this postseason. Minnesota kind of having a way more rough road. I think OKC takes this in a gentleman's sweep 4-2.
All right, there you go. So you have OKC in Indiana, and I have New York and Minnesota. I have the series. Well, no, I guess not. We have only part. You always see these posts too that what the country wants to see is like Minnesota versus Indiana. Nobody wants to see OKC and New York.
Right.
But it might. Who knows? Who knows? Either way, you have a 3/4 chance of a team winning their first ever NBA championship, and then one team's first NBA championship since like 1842. So, and that would be the New York Knickerbockers. So we will see what happens there. All right, on the ice list here, not too much to deal with, but we kind of touched on the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's going to miss a minimum now of 2 weeks with a hamstring strain. She kind of dealt with this in the preseason. She sat out like the preseason opener. A lot of people were pissed off because it was in Indiana. It was the first home game of the season. I know it was a preseason game, and those are the games where you want to rest people. But now she's going to be out a minimum of 2 weeks. We touched on the gelling issue or the chemistry issue with the Indiana Fever a little bit earlier. How you bring in all new pieces, Mark. They only brought four people back from last year, and
That's it.
And you bring in a whole bunch of veterans, which is good. You need a mix of the two. Obviously Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hull, Dantes, and Kelsey Mitchell are your four that you brought back from last year. You got two rookies on this team. You bring in Sydney Colson as a backup. She's going to see a lot more minutes now with Caitlin Clark out of the lineup. You're going to see a lot more Sophie Cunningham, which I love. She made her debut 2 games ago after dealing with an ankle injury. I mean, the fire and passion, the defense, the three-pointers that she brings, and not to mention she's just drop dead stunning. But she knows how to play some basketball as well. and you're going to see a lot more of her. I'm curious to see what the starting lineup's going to be their next game. I think they play tomorrow or Wednesday. And yeah, so CC out 2 weeks. I mean, can Indiana keep their head above water without her?
I honestly think Indiana's going to be fine as a whole. Um, but I think this is, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham. I think this is the exact time that they kind of needed in their career. Not that you ever want to see this happen because of somebody going down, um, but this is exactly the kind of limelight that they all need. And I think personally, I think Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hall are going to be really the two to watch out for. I think they'll be able to slip into those roles, into that role, either one of them a little bit more. Kelsey Mitchell, not that I see that she can't do it. I just don't see the firepower that like a Sophie Cunningham has. Like you said, the defense, the 3 points, the passion, um, things like that. And I think due to those three players, I think Indiana's going to be fine. They're going to get through these 2 weeks. CC's going to come back with an even better team.
Yeah, and this is almost good for them. I want to say it sucks that you're losing probably your best player on the team. She struggled through 2 games, didn't make a 3-pointer in 2 games, Mark, which is really, really rare to see Caitlin Clark not make a 3-pointer. Very controversial.
Oh, she was hurt.
Yeah, very controversial call at the end of the New York Liberty game the other day, where was she fouled? Was she not fouled? You don't know. I mean, this is why we're going to get into a little referee talk, because it's almost like holding in football. I mean, there's probably a foul on every pay mark. It's just whether they want to call it. There's probably 3 seconds all the time in basketball. It's whether they want to call it. And you can tell that referees, and I guess transitioning, and we'll just kind of mix the two, transitioning to our referee talk. I mean, you can tell what referees are focusing on each game. Like, are we enforcing this? Are we enforcing that? Are we calling contact? Are we calling marginal contact? Are we calling hand checks, elbow checks? Are we calling traveling? I mean, in WNBA, the traveling calls are just outstanding. Like, it's almost every other time down the court, one of these girls is getting called for traveling. It's funny because they do the same moves. The dudes in the NBA, they catch it, take a step or two. And in the WNBA, it's traveling, but in the NBA, it's not, which is crazy.
The NBA has got away with the traveling rule pretty much.
Well, and then it's okay to Euro step. They're letting the girls Euro step a little bit now, which is, I guess, fine. You can step through the defense after you've basically already stopped your dribble. I've seen that a bunch, but I mean, even tying back to Oklahoma City, I mean, are referees just as bad, or is it just they're enforcing certain things in certain games? And you kind of see makeup calls as well. You kind of see one half of the game favoring calls towards one team. The second half, they kind of make up for it, switch to the other side. I mean, like I said, I could never be a referee. I mean, seeing this crap at 100 miles per hour mark is probably the most difficult thing to do. And I get it. You have a well-trained team of referees in each game, whatever you want to call it, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, what is your take on refereeing so far, not only in the NBA playoffs, WNBA, whatever you've seen?
Yeah, first and foremost, like I really try not to be a referee hater. I mean, there obviously you have your bad ones out there, but I always joke around, see a ref, think a ref, tell him something nice because it is a tough job. Obviously, it's easy having a few beers at home and watching 45 replays making the call. Uh, I think personally now, I honestly don't know how it is to be a professional referee, as far as like off the court, off the field type thing. I assume you have meetings weekly to discuss, kind of what's been seen, how to pivot, where to go from here. So in my mind, I do actually believe like, yeah, we got to focus more on this. I think that might, as much as it might help in certain situations, I think that might hurt in others where, now, last game we're calling, this aspect of the game more. This week now we're missing that. So, like I said, you're only human. I think I think that, the professional leagues all over need to kind of, I mean, we've got the technology. No, I don't want to lose the human effect, but we've got the technology. If there is a call that really just doesn't need to be a call, we don't need to do this whole, well, this is what was called on the floor. We need to come up with enough evidence to reverse it. I don't like that anymore. We're in 2025. We should be able to make the call when it's right. And it's not like it's baseball, right? With strikes and balls, like strikes and balls, you're going to have different umpires have different strike zones. I like that aspect. I like the human effect. I don't want to go to computers. Calls are bad, but at the end of the year, or, in the middle of the year, that's where the commissioner could get the committee together and say, hey, you know what, you're subpar on certain calls. I think basketball, football, and hockey all together, I think these are the areas where it's like, hey, this is the right call. Let's make it. You know what I mean? This is what should be called. Let's save the integrity of the sport. I mean, on top of it all, referees are human. I mean, they're gonna make bad calls. It happens. Why not bail them out with the video footage that we have?
Yeah, and I guess my question is, should referees be held more accountable? You see players and stuff get fined all the time. Should referees start getting fined? Because you see after a game, like I don't think it happened in the Fever Liberty game the other day, where Caitlin Clark basically said she was fouled. I mean, I don't know if you saw Stephanie White's press conference after and saying the respect we're getting from the whistle is just bad. I mean, she said there's a 31 free throw differential between them and the opponent, which is crazy. I mean, you see calls, like a day later, like, oh, the referee said that was not the right call. Like, why are you saying this a day later? Like, the game's over. Who cares? I mean,
right.
Are they just saying that to throw it in our face after they blew a call at the end of the game? And then on the other hand, Mark, you're like, well, the team should have never put it in the officials' hands in the first place. Like, they should have did their job and not leave it up to the referees. But should referees be held more accountable? Like, if they say a referee makes two bad calls, a team challenges those calls, and turns out those calls get reversed, should that referee be kicked out of the game? Should we get a replacement ref? Let's bring some referees in off the bench. Like, what? I mean, what's an answer for all this?
No, I really like that aspect. I definitely don't think referees should be fined. It's because it is a tough job,
and maybe they are, and we just don't know about. I don't know.
Right. Well, and the thing of it is too is I wish that these leagues, and the NFL is probably the worst amongst all of them, but the NBA and the NFL and the WNBA need to come out and they need to admit when they're wrong. I think that would help save the integrity of the sport, and that would help, the fans at home, because what they essentially do, like you say, they'll come back a day later after it doesn't matter, say, well, oops, and you got to move on with your life.
Yeah, like, what are you going to replay that down? Are you going to replay that series? Are you going to replay that quarter? Like, what's the point of releasing a bad call, like, hours?
And that's why I said we should definitely. We've got the technology. Let's make the right call right now. And then what I would like to see is how many times did that referee find themselves in this position? Now, if it's more than whatever times a year, we'll say 3 times a year. Hey, you're going to start refereeing some minor league games until you can get it back, kind of work your way back up.
You're getting demoted. You're getting suspended, something.
Right. And then let the fans know about, hey, referee so-and-so who made these calls over the year, and, these 3 different situations, this is what we're going to do with them. Okay, hey, cool. Now we're making an effort. Now we've got some sort of direction we can go off of.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if repercussions are the answer or something like that, but yeah, I mean, just the ticky-tack stuff, guys driving to the hoop, just hand checks and stuff like that, reaching in, like I said, one game you're letting dudes be physical, there's no calls, players got to adjust to how they're refereeing the game. You're reaching in, hand check, stuff like that, or calling it, don't do it anymore.
Right.
And I know you want to go for a steal, and I know you want to knock the ball out. I still don't know to this day if the hand is part of the ball. you got me on that in basketball because dudes get their hand hit and it's clean. Dudes get their hand hit, it's a foul. So I really don't know. And I'm sure when the NFL rolls around, we still don't know what a catch is. We still don't know what a block is in basketball. We still don't know what a ball or strike is. I mean, it's just like you said, you don't want the human element to go away, but at the same time, you have the technology. Length of the game be damned. If you want the right call, you're going to have to take some time to look at it.
Absolutely. And I can't think of one fan that'll be pissed off because they spent 45 minutes extra at a game reviewing a couple of calls. You're getting your money's worth. But two, if my team loses, but I know damn well the calls were exactly what they should have been, hey, that's on us, fellas. We'll get them next time. How many years? Like I said, football's the worst. How many years did you walk out of a postseason game like, wow, absolutely atrocious. The game was stolen from us. Now, like you said, I agree with you. There's that issue where, hey, boys, you can't leave it in the referee's hands. You absolutely cannot do that. But the same token in time, you shouldn't have to worry about getting screwed over by the referees when the game's on the line as well.
Yeah, it's a very fine line, and I don't know if there's ever going to be a resolution to it or an answer to it or a consequence, however you want to phrase it. I really don't know if there's going to be, unless you just get rid of, like you said, unless you just get rid of and bring robots in. I don't know. I don't know what you can do.
I feel like soccer has a down stat. The VAR, when he does that, the referee that's watching the video footage in the back there, he says flat out, hey, look, this is the right call. And then they go back, hey, this is the call and this is why. It's not, well, we have to come up with enough evidence to overturn the referee. No, this is your evidence. This is what the call should be. So I think soccer has it figured out.
Well, it's funny too, because like the NFL, the NBA, they have like their expert official, like a retired official in the replay booth somewhere, like in Alaska, watching these games in a bunker. And they're like, well, let's go to Steve Dabby in the bunker. Was that the right call? Well, yeah, I kind of agree with the call. Like, what is the point of that?
Right.
Like, do they get to call him and be like, hey, was that the right call? I mean, you could probably do that. Hey, what was that the right? I mean, the NFL kind of expedited that process too. They're like, we got a call from upstairs. We're making that call. They've kind of expedited. So the NFL's getting a little better because they're getting calls right from upstairs saying, hey, that was the right call, or hey, overturn that call. They don't need to review it. They're getting the call right away. Like, why isn't more leagues doing that either?
Right. No, I agree. And, let's say that it is a call where the entire public is pissed off. Let's do our best to educate the public more. Hey, this is what this is why. This is what the rule states. This is why the referee called this rule, and this is why it applies. Whether you like it or not, feelings be damned. This is the situation we're in. I would like that a whole lot more than, well, this is why this referee called it because this is what he saw. Well, it's like I said, we got the technology. What's the rule say? What can we do to make sure that nobody walks away feeling robbed?
Yeah. And like I said, it's a very fine line. Who knows if there's any be a resolution to it? They're trying their best with the replay systems. They brought in challenges in the NBA, and you only get, if you use one and get it wrong, that's it. And if you use one, get one right, you only got one left, and that's it. So those guys got to be careful on how they use challenges. So I don't know. I mean, I guess they're trying their best. But like I said, I can never do it. The fast pace and stuff like that, these big humans going full speed is just really hard. And the fine line is you're just going to have to almost deal with it. You hate to lose a game because of a call. But again, maybe you should have did your job 3 plays earlier to not be in that position. I don't know. Like I said, it's a very fine line, but we will see if any progress is made towards it. I don't know. But it is funny when coaches go on rants and then they get fined because they get fined because they talk bad about the officials. If the officials are making bad calls, why don't they get fined?
Right.
Or something. I don't know. Like you said, go back to the minors, referee a few games there. You don't get paid what you get paid in the majors. Maybe that's what we do.
Right.
When you get half
Well,
a paycheck.
and they got to understand that accountability is going to be had, and it's not that you can't come back anymore. It's just that you got some work to do, just like the guys in the pros. And there's also, especially basketball, guys have made careers off of being able to fool the referees. So that also makes it tough too when you throw that aspect in there. Kind of the dark arts of sports where you're able to flop perfectly, where it looks like a foul in real time. So I mean, ask LeBron. So I mean, that also falls. Does that fall on the referee? I don't know.
Well, it's funny because Michael Malone, who's on the Western Conference analysis now for ESPN, he got shebanged because he said that's why Shea's the MVP. And then the next game, he was like, well, let me get my story straight. If I had a vote, I would vote for Nikola. I've been getting a lot of heat back home. And then he even said, I think he called Shea a foul artist or a foul master or something. And like you said, it's almost tricking the officials into making it look like the weird angles that these guys take. Well, I know the referee's on the baseline. If I take this angle and fall down,
and then come up fired. Use those lessons from drama class in high school.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess it goes both ways, but yeah, crazy. We'll see what happens. Right now, the Hurricanes and Panthers tied about 5 minutes ago in that first period. We will see if Florida gets a trip to the Stanley Cup final, and then the Timberwolves and the aforementioned Thunder getting going here in just a few minutes. Timberwolves looking to tie that series at 2 games apiece. That's going to do it for us. I was going to ask Mark what he thought about The Last of Us, but he's 2 episodes behind, so
Mark dropped the ball this week.
Yeah, I might have to wait till next week for that one.
Absolutely.
All right. We hope you all enjoyed your hopefully extended Memorial Day weekend. Thanks for everyone who has served and, who have fought and died for our freedom and our country. We thank you on this Memorial Day. And also don't forget to check out our socials and our home base at e5280sports.com, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Podcast, and then all of our audio video is on e5280sports.com. Mark, thank you once again for sitting in.
Always a blast, and happy Memorial Weekend, and thanks again for having me.
All right, that's going to do it for us here on the Wheelhouse. We will talk to you next week.